You recently ended up in the news because you completed a very well-known climbing tour. Well-known in the scene, at least. You climbed the Prinzip Hoffnung in Austria.
That was the first time I'd ever experienced anything like it, and I didn't always find it easy to deal with. I don't think I really expected it, or I simply hadn't thought about it. Because I've never been in the public eye at any point in my life, and that's something I'm just not familiar with. And I don't know if I like it.
Extreme weather events as the flood disaster in Germany, news report about climate, drastic change.
It doesn't look good. Climate change worldwide has influenced the world.
I'm faced with a dilemma, as are all of us who like spending time in the mountains. As a climate researcher, I know how the climate crisis is changing the Alps. As a climber, however, I want to spend as much time as possible in the mountains. So, what can I do? How can I change my behavior and make my sport more sustainable? My approach is to drive as little as possible. In daily life and on day trips, that's quite doable. And now I'm taking it one step further. 7 days cycling through the Alps and climbing 2 of my dream routes. That's new for me.
Mann, geht's da bergauf nachher.
Judith. I can't think of anyone I'd rather have with me on our trip to South Tyrol. She really exudes calm, and we share the same interests. Our love of climbing connects us, as well as our desire to live as sustainably as possible. We are crossing the Alps, 5,000 vertical meters, 23 kilos of baggage, and a big desire to go crack climbing together. I'm targeting 2 absolute king lines, Ganja in the Ziller Valley and Skinwalker in the Mendel Pass, both 10th grade climbs. You have to place your own protection on both, and I want to introduce Judith to my world of trad climbing. On this trip, we are taking the Red Point concept one step further. Free climbing a route in one go is one thing. Getting to the route is another. Red Point climbing by fair means, with public transport and bicycles. I call it Eco Point. For me, that is the future of our sport.
Schön. Ja, schön.
Traveling with Judith does me a lot of good. We can talk about the difficult things in life, about our worries and fears, but also about having the courage to seek to effect change. And we can also just have fun.
So schön. Voll. So, da siehst du diesen Kanal da rein. Da auf der linken Seite sind 2 Risse, da bin ich meine erste Trad-Tour geklettert.
Ah, okay, ich wusste gar nicht, dass das...
Dort gibt es 2, also sie sind gegoldet, aber es sind zwei Risse auf der linken Seite.
Ja, also außen noch.
Genau, nee, auf der linken Seite in dem, sozusagen in dem drin. Ja. Das muss ich auf jeden Fall mal machen, ist cool. Ist cool zum selber absichern.
Wie schwer ist das?
Nicht schwer.
Ja,
okay.
So, also so zum Trad anfangen.
Genau, ja. Und jetzt fahren wir weiter.
The world is undergoing a huge transformation as a result of climate change caused by humans. Nothing will stay the same. Nothing can stay the same. What does a world I'd like to live in 30 years' time look like? Are we going to keep acting so self-centered that we're going to risk the basis for our own existence? No. positive thinking. More and more people are questioning their own actions, their consumption, their own life goals, especially in the world of climbing. We just need to start with our expectations, a life that is fair for both the climate and society. That's why we need to take to the streets. That's what drives me, hope, and the belief in a better future for us all.
Okay. Okay.
Now concentrate. Clear your head. Just get going. Ganja is an absolute classic. First climbed in 1987 by Gerhard Horhager. Back then, no one believed that this fine crack could even be climbed, but Gerhard did. Even though he was only 19 years old at the time. Crazy. He showed how much is possible, if you just believe. Climbing Ganja on the first attempt is too difficult. I first want to see where the best placements are for my protection devices, study the moves, find out where I can wedge my fingers and feet in the crack. Falling is part of the process. Maybe I enjoy trad climbing so much because of its complexity. You just need to know what you are doing. You need to be physically strong, but also mentally. Trust in your abilities and in the protection that you use. But even if everything looks right, the outcome of this battle with the route is never guaranteed. The possibility of failure is always present. And that makes it an even better feeling when you do succeed. With the Ganja, I'm still some way away from that, but I'll be back.
Okay, danke. Cool. Wuhu. Das war sehr gut. Danke fürs Sichern. Ich glaube, irgendwas in meinem...
Although we are still aiming for our climbing destination in South Tyrol, it's becoming more and more secondary for us. The journey itself is no longer a means to an end. We are enjoying it more and more each day. It's great to try something new because I can see a purpose in it. I've already been on countless climbing holidays, but this journey is different. It's changing me. No, it's changing us. These mountains here are so beautiful.
Den Gletscher hinten sieht man auch nicht mehr viel, gell? Es ist nicht mehr viel übrig. Scheiß Klimawandel.
I want to have fun doing the things that I do. That's part of it for me. I'm not the kind of person who needs to suffer for hours on end in order to feel good. All the cams make the bike so heavy. On the flat, that wasn't an issue, but pushing them uphill is really hard work. Everything is such a massive effort. Do I even want to do this?
Machen wir einfach eine lange Pause jetzt.
Okay, Lena, stop. Don't let your head drop. It was always clear that the journey would have its challenges, too.
Geht's weiter? Oh.
Step by step, just don't stand still. I am so happy that Judith is here. It's good that we're working hard together and experiencing something that will connect us after this journey, too. No matter how tired we are, something in me is driving me on. The time to think does me good. It's actually priceless. 3 days, and I've learned so much about myself. I mean, I knew why I set out on this journey. Everything made sense. We want to inspire other people, give them the courage to confront the climate crisis, move forward, and show that we can start with ourselves. Now it's about so much more than just reducing my carbon footprint. We can feel the mountains. They surround us, and we are their guests. We belong right here, right now.
Es ist schon ein bisschen Regen.
Vielleicht kannst du runterfahren?
Ja, voll, eigentlich schon. Ich glaube, es wird ziemlich... Und ich bin echt gespannt, wann es einfach aufhört zu regnen dann.
Okay. Oi, oi, oi.
Oh, das ist verrückt.
Jetzt
Das
wird's.
ist auch noch passend zum Tag. Also ist dir noch warm?
Ja, mega. Boah, ist voll schön mit dem Baum da. Ui, 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 ui.
Rain can be so incredibly liberating. It's important to have the right mindset. It's perfect right now. Riding down a muddy gravel path, soaked through. I need so much less than I thought I did. Plus this incredible landscape. It's changing step by step. And we are moving slowly enough to notice this change. We've crossed the Alps. The first part of the journey is complete. Even if it was hard work, that definitely wasn't my last journey by bike. Satisfaction and an unbelievable sense of anticipation for trad climbing. Yes, that's what I'm feeling.
Das ist für mich
Auf jeden Fall der liebste Stand.
Schaut doch gar nicht so nass aus wie die.
Ja, voll schön.
What a day. The landscape in South Tyrol is completely different again. The houses, the wine, the vegetation, the differences are even clearer when you have experienced them for yourself.
Häuschen, ja.
Although we've been on the move for 5 days, the journey home would be a stone's throw by car. But that's exactly what makes the journey so special. Judith is excited. She's looking forward to her day of climbing, her first time crack climbing. Her energy and anticipation are infectious.
Magst du das Tape mitnehmen auch? Zwischen.
So.
Gut.
Also, ich bin schon
Hell.
The first time you go trad climbing is something special. Judith is trying a sport climbing route without using the bolts of the protection points. That means she has a backup, and she can gradually get to grips with trad climbing. It's about building experience, getting a feel for it. Is the friend holding? Are the nuts well positioned? Will they hold firm in the event of a fall? And is my head clear for the next difficult move? Grappling with these questions is what's really fascinating about trad climbing.
voll gut. Super.
Lena, kann ich mich da einmal kurz reinsetzen?
Ja.
Nur für den Kopf.
Ja, passt super. Es hält auf jeden Fall.
Hält.
Ja.
I'm so pleased for Judith. She's doing really well. And above all, she appears to be happy while doing it. Trad climbing is intense. You develop a special connection to the rock face when you're placing your own protection. No climb is the same. You discover a route for the first time every time. You feel like you are pioneering. And it has a lot to do with having respect for the mountain. You leave no trace. When you've got a beautiful climbing line, everything about trad climbing is great.
Auf geht's, Judith.
Okay, zu.
Super, Judith. Sehr gut.
When I think about the past few days, it's the quiet moments in particular that stand out. The wonderful feeling of having a friend like this. What remains is our time together. It continues to have an effect. And feeling grateful that you know someone you could share everything with.
Krass, das ist so.
Lots of time on our bikes and fewer hours on the rock face. Being on the move in this way presents me as a climber with completely new challenges. The eco-point concept makes a lot of things easier and more difficult at the same time. But that's exactly what climbing is all about. If we wanted to choose the easiest option, we could just take the cable car up somewhere.
Fest. Fest. Sieht auch gut aus. Ja, das machen wir runter.
The Skinwalker is an absolute dream route. Florian Riegler discovered it, basically on his doorstep in Bozen. It's incredible that to this day you can still be the first person to climb such beautiful lines. The Skinwalker demands the complete climber, a 10th grade finger crack. It's close to my limit. But for me, that's what climbing is all about. Testing my limits. Finding out who is stronger. Me with my weaknesses, doubts, and fears? Or me with my strengths and my courage and optimism? Riding a bicycle is not a form of sacrifice. On the contrary, the rewards are great. The time, the surroundings, the people, everything becomes more important. It's not about changing your whole life. That's really not necessary. There is no need for every individual person to be perfect if they are all trying to create positive change. Many small steps add up to a big one. What would it be like if this mentality were to spread? If we all began with ourselves and together took a stand for political change? We would change everything.
So the rays of our call.